last few years where we found these issues. And so we decided to take matters into our own hands and establish Craft Cargo. So together we will renovate old, unused cargo vessels into micro-culinary businesses where we will actually take over the renovation and help to develop the backbone of a business.
This is a 1984 Eagle motor coach. This was formerly used by Trailways Motors. We are completely gutting it, taking out all the seats, all the luggage racks, all that really fantastic interior that you see there. And then this is just another view. We are going to turn this into a craft beverage lounge. It's going to be serving craft brewed espresso, pour-over coffees, and microbrews from around the state of Mississippi. These are some of our sketches here. You can see the traffic flow with the ADA entrance, so we'll be fully accessible. Come on in. These are just some more interior shots of the project here. And then let's see. Oh, one too far.
And so that is our first project, Brewbird. So ultimately, did I go again too far? No. Okay. So ultimately what we're trying to do is have a coffee shop by day and then a craft beverage limousine at night, and so that we can diversify our revenue and we can actually travel with this. So what we're doing now is developing the backbones of the business. We're gutting the bus ourselves, and we're designing the exterior artwork and the look of the bus. We're currently working on our website development. We have a very talented team of web developers and graphic designers that we've worked with for a number of years. So we'll actually have an app where you can book your flight on the Brewbird, and based on how many stops, you can customize your route based on where different events and special events occur. And then we will charge you based on how far you travel with us and how long we anticipate that will take. And we're actually emerging in the state of Mississippi into a land of ordinances and licenses that don't exist yet. So luckily, we have a really good friend on the city council, and he said, "What do you want your ordinance to look like?" And we said, "Well, we're going to go travel for a few weeks. We'll let you know when we get back." And so we plan to launch 1 month from today in the Midtown neighborhood where I work. We have a big block party called Midfest, and this is where there are 75 to 80 different working artists in this area where we'll park our coffee shop, and that's where everyone that's working on our team is located as well. We'll start with some crowdsourced funding, and we'll also look at different sponsorships from different breweries and distributors around the state. And then we also have the Mississippi Development Authority, which has grants and loans for this type of venture. And we estimate that we can get Brewbird going for $75,000. So it's important for us that when we develop these businesses, that we develop them all under $100,000. We anticipate Brewbird can bring in gross revenue from $250,000 to $400,000 a year. And so this is just the first project. We'll move on to different shipping containers after this and other vessels as we find them. And is that 6? Okay. We also have the bare bones of our website we can pull up and kind of shows visually a little more what we're going for.
Interesting fact, the TED guy.
Okay, and so anyway, I guess that opens it up to questions.
Do we have any questions? First of all, thank you. How did you arrive at your yearly revenue estimate? Why do you think, or how do you think you would show up and spend money?
Well, we're very familiar with the customer base that's in Jackson. We calculated the number of hours that we could have it in operation. We estimated that the average coffee shop customer spends about $5 a head. And then we are looking at rates of around $15 an hour for our limo rides per person, and we have 18 seats in the bus. So at a maximum, the revenue generated by that would be close to $400,000. So say we operated at about 60 to 70% of our actual capacity, that gets us to the 250.
Is there like a food truck scene or something in Jackson, or I'm not sure how this compares, but I'm just wondering.
Well, there's a blossoming food truck scene in Jackson. One of the first food trucks that popped on our scene was called Lerny D's, and that showed up 2013, and it's a gourmet hamburger bus. And there have been a few that pop up. They show up for a little while and then disappear off the scene, and then you never hear from them again. But currently, Jackson has 2 food trucks that operate on pretty much a daily basis, doing private events or just sitting on the street. We've visited some other cities around the country. Their food truck laws are a lot different than ours. When Jackson first started looking at having food trucks, they were going to make it so that you actually had to have a brick and mortar store before you could actually have a food truck. So that just kind of completely defeated the purpose of having a food truck. For all the people that had existing brick and mortar restaurants, now they're going to start food trucks. It didn't make sense. So they've rewritten some of the laws, and they're a little more flexible now. We don't find that this is actually going to fall under the food truck category since we're going to be transporting people. So that's the reason we're looking around for other options.
What makes it different from a food truck and what really puts us in a position of A, designing it so that it's as safe as possible, and then B, ensuring that it is designated as a limo when it's moving, is food trucks don't allow the patrons to actually occupy the vehicle. And then for us to actually have craft beer on the bus, it has to be designated as a limousine. Those are the only state laws that allow open containers on the vessel. And so Jackson's ordinances right now related to limos are very antiquated. They were written in '74, and there really hasn't been, no one's shaken that up since then. So we're in a new place there. And so we believe that this is going to help build the food truck scene in Jackson just because of the different ordinances that currently exist. Really, the most comparable is a party bus, and we don't really want to identify ourselves that way because you have a certain connotation of what that looks like and how people behave. We won't have any poles on this bus, at least none that are vertical. And so from what we understand, there are a couple of businesses in San Francisco that allow for almost like ants, but I don't know that those are legally that exist.
The closest thing that I could need to build more projects for us